Hello, welcome to the session on business acumen for aspiring CXOs. Essentially, this is about what business acumen areas should mid-senior level managers should be coached on for breaking into the CXO roles or say the 1 crore plus bracket. Well, can I tell you something that most leadership programs will never say? Your technical or functional skills got you here, but they'll not get you to the top. By top, I mean the director, VP, C-suite level. Every professional who made it to the top had one thing in common that had nothing to do with their qualification and certifications. They knew how to walk into a boardroom and have people lean in. They know how to own a room before they open their mouth. They know how to contribute and speak with such clarity and conviction that credit could never be stolen from them. So let us set the tone for business acumen that is essential for your CXO readiness program. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, let me share a truth that separates managers from leaders at the very top. The journey to the C-suite is not about being the best in your function. It's about being the custodian of the entire business. Let's begin with a story. I hope you know the brand Nokia, right? I think everybody knows the brand Nokia. So in the early 2000s, Nokia was everywhere. And I'm sure you remember, and you might have used it early on when mobiles came in, right? So their mobiles were in every pocket. Their brand was trusted across continents and they commanded nearly the half of the global market. They were the giants everyone admired. If I remember it right, then it was about 45 or 47% of market share that they had commanded. But here's the truth, the dominance blinded them. While Apple and Google were quietly building ecosystems, software, user experience, platform, Nokia stayed anchored in the hardware. They believed their current success was just enough. Then came 2007. What happened in 2007? Anybody? The iPhone wasn't just a phone, it was a revolution. Suddenly, the roles of the game changed. Nokia, once untouched, found itself scrambling. They didn't know what to do. Within a decade, the giant had fallen, forced to sell off its handset division. I mean, the handset division, right? And yet, what did Nokia do? No, it did not vanish. They reinvented themselves. They pivoted to the network infrastructure, becoming a major player in the 5G. What does this teach us? It teaches that business acumen is not just about mastering one function, it's about seeing the whole board. What do we mean by that? It's about strategy, finance, customer orientation, collaboration, technology, leadership, governance. Every piece matters. Like as we go on to the next slide, you will be able to understand this even better. Can you change the slide, please? Miss one of these, let's call them pillars. Miss one of these pillars, and even the strongest can stumble and tumble. Master them all, and you can reinvent, rebound, and rise again. So, as you step into this program that is all about business acumen, remember, PXO readiness is not about being the best in silos. It's not about just one function. It's not about just what you specialize in. It's about anticipating tomorrow, owning the full spectrum, and leading with vision. Okay. So, what are these? This is strategy, finance, customer orientation, collaboration, technology, leadership, and governance. You may ask why? Because in a boardroom, you are not judged by how well you run your own function, own department, but by how well you understand and influence the whole organization. Then these seven pillars have to be understood well and the level that you aspire to rise to, right? Are you convinced? I hope you are. So let's get started with the first pillar. Let me give you a brief understanding about this. Let's take up strategy. All right. So, strategy is about understanding the macro trends, competitive forces, and how strategy drives organizational survival. So, it's about the external and internal factors, right? And how do you prepare? You need to practice the scenario planning and link departmental or functional goals to the business vision. Okay, I can explain this to you a bit with an example. We are all familiar with Netflix, right? So Netflix started off with DVD rentals and then it pivoted into streaming. They had a foresight in anticipating digital disruption and then it reshaped the whole industry. Okay, so there were these two guys. Um, there were Hastings and Radolph who started off Netflix as a DVD rental service. And in those days, back then, it was a company called Blockbuster, which was a $6 billion company which owned about 9,000 stores worldwide. And Netflix was such a small player back then. But then they had a loyal base of customers to whom this company used to send DVD by mail service and all that. What Netflix did in 2007 is they made a strategic pivot. They launched on demand streaming. This was a bold risk because at that point of time, it called for massive investment and the streaming technology was still in its early stages. The internet speeds were not great. There were not many broadband subscribers and the content library was very limited. All right. But then what Netflix did was they took the risk of introducing personalized recommendations. The streaming services started small, but they anticipated a larger cultural shift towards digital consumption. That's what we are enjoying right now, right? So they did anticipate all this way back in late 2000s. Then they were right because the consumers began to embrace um, and they enjoyed the ease at which they could view whatever they wanted to, as compared to the DVD culture. Is this all a surprise? Because yeah, not many people knew about the history of what it was. So if you compare the status of Netflix right now, they are at a $250 million sorry, 250 million subscribers worldwide. They are at a $17 billion. They spend $17 billion annually on its original content because they create their own content, right? The company itself is about 31 billion in revenue as of 2023. And Netflix transformed from a simple DVD rental services to a global entertainment powerhouse, right? And all this they could achieve because of their customer first approach. So what all they did was they personalized recommendations. They powered this with innovative algorithm that suggested films based on the viewing history, right? And when you view, you generally get asked, right? Do you like this movie? Do you dislike this movie? You give a rating, then there is a history of it. So all this, based on all this, Netflix has gone ahead and transformed into what it is right now. Okay, the fun or the best part is way back, uh, Blockbuster, they denied or they declined buyout of Netflix at just $50 million. They declined it, and eventually they ended up filing for bankruptcy in about 2010. That's what happens when you don't transform yourself. So that's about strategy. That's a great example. I'm sure you agree with me. So let's move on to another pillar, the next one, which is finance. Finance is basically the language of credibility. If you know about finance, then you enjoy credibility with boards and investors. You have people who are listening to you if you have a good knowledge about finance. And it's not very difficult because it's about you want to understand this, then it's about learning to read the P&L statements, the balance sheet, and cash flow. You get a good grasp of the ROI, which is a return on investment, and cost benefit analysis. Then you've got most of it on you, right? So how you can do this is you can connect the operational decisions to the financial outcomes, and that stimulates investment trade-off, right? So um, let's look at a case which is about Apple and its cash reserve strategy. So Apple was so disciplined that it could enable bold innovations and bets like iPhone with its financial management because of how well they manage their finances, right? So to understand this, it's all about reading the financial landscape. What Apple did was to speak the language of business. It could understand all its financial uh, credentials very well. It managed them very well. And if you talk of what you need to understand, it's about the P&L, profit and loss, that shows revenues, expenses, net income over a period. Then it's about balance sheet that provides a snapshot of assets and liabilities. Then it's about cash flows, how well you can manage your cash. You check your liquidity, right? And ROI, the return on investment, is a key metric that you have to have control of, or you have to know really well. Okay. So
थोड़ा सा ना वॉइस मॉड्यूलेशन ऊंचा नीचा करो, बहुत
फ्लैट हो
ऐसा
गया क्या?
हाँ फ्लैट हो रहा है, बहुत ही फ्लैट हो रहा है, और इंटरेस्ट चला जा रहा है, कंसंट्रेशन मेरा भी बहुत डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है। रिज्यूम कर रही हूँ, ठीक है?
Okay.
नाउ यस।
So the whole point is if this is interactive, no, that's when.
या लेट मी पॉज इट, हाँ मेक इट इंटरेक्टिव ना। इंटरेक्शन तो आपको करना है।
तो कोई नहीं है तो कैसे इंटरेक्टिव?
ऐसे करो, नहीं कोई नहीं है तो बोलते रहो, राइट यस इन द साइड इन द चैट, मैं करती रहूंगी यस नो अभी के लिए। बाद में उनको चैट नहीं दिखता है, बाद में उनको सिर्फ रिकॉर्डिंग दिखता है, तो वो यस नो, पीएल पुट पीएल फॉर पीएनएल, पुट बीएस फॉर बैलेंस शीट, पुट सीएफ फॉर कैश फ्लो, ऐसे करके डालते हैं ना। वो बोलती रहती थी ना सालिया मैम उस दिन,
हम्म
वो फर्स्ट टू वर्ड्स को इकट्ठा करके, विदाउट अथॉरिटी है तो डब्ल्यू ए बोल दो, अथॉरिटी है तो ए बोल दो, सिंगल वर्ड बोलना है तो सिंगल बोल दो, डबल बोलना है तो डबल बोल, लिखवाते रहो सबसे कुछ कुछ।
हम्म
आधा आप देखो भी मत, चाहे मैं करती रहूंगी तो मतलब थोड़ा इंटरेक्शन चलेगा।
हम्म
थोड़ा इंटरेक्टिव करो, बहुत ही ऐसे जा रहे हैं, नींद आ रही है।
हम्म
तो
तो अभी के लिए बस करते हैं ना आज।
आज के लिए बस कर देते हैं।
हम्म।
तो इसको हम, कितना मिनट हुआ होगा अप्रोक्सी? पॉज ही करना पड़ेगा, स्टॉप ही करना पड़ेगा ना?
स्टॉप कर दिया ना।
मैंने
अच्छा,
पॉज,
ये स्टिल रिकॉर्डिंग।
नहीं नहीं, रिकॉर्ड नहीं हो रहा है वो, क्योंकि मैंने पॉज किया हुआ है बीच में। एक ऑप्शन है।
20 मिनट्स हुआ होगा शायद।
एक मिनट, पॉज।